As far back in my life as I can remember, I've been fascinated by space and space exploration. As a child, I devoured movies like Apollo 13. As a young adult, I devoured documentaries, and throughout my life, I've watched all of the good Star Wars movies and all of the great Star Trek shows and movies. Today, we're going to be looking at Star Trek Panic. Star Trek Panic is based on Justin DeWitt's Castle Panic and is published by USAopoly and Fireside Games. Star Trek Panic is a cooperative game for 1 to 6 players where they will take on the role of original series crew members trying to survive a barrage of threats as well as complete various missions in order to be successful space explorers. We're going to be set up for a 2-player game. Each player is able to take a card that represents an original crew member. In this case, we're going to take James T. Kirk and Spock. Each crew member has a unique special ability that will help the Enterprise to survive. Each player is dealt a hand of Enterprise cards. In a 2-player game, each player is dealt 6 cards. Since this is a cooperative game, there's no reason to keep the cards face down from one another. You can openly discuss what it is that you have in your hand. So if I'm Spock, for example, I have short range side phasers, medium range rear phasers, a tricorder, medium range long phasers, medium range short phasers, and multi-range rear phasers. On a player's turn, they are going to draw up to their hand limit in a 2-player game of 6 cards. If you already have 6 cards, then you draw none. You will reveal a new mission if you do not already have a mission in play. You can trade up to 1 card with 1 other player, assuming, of course, that the mission says that you cannot. You can then play cards from your hand and maneuver the Enterprise. The only limit to cards played during your turn is the number of cards that you have in your hand. Then you will check the mission status, see if you've completed your mission. Then threats on the board will move and fire at the Enterprise. And at the end of your turn comes the panic part. You draw 2 new threats and place them on the board. The Enterprise itself is represented by this fantastic model at the center of the table. It has multiple sections. It has 6 facings, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, and 1 on either side. Each facing at the beginning of the game has a plastic shield up. As long as that shield is up, the Enterprise itself won't take any damage. However, once our enemies advance, they will also fire on the Enterprise. Each shield and hull section has a total health of 2. The first shot coming from the Tholians will hit the shield and will place 1 shield damaged marker on the shield. If the shield was already damaged, we would then remove the shield. If the shot came through with no shield, we would place a hull damaged marker on the Enterprise. And if the hull was already damaged, well, then unfortunately, we have to play a hull destroyed marker on the Enterprise. If a shot comes into a destroyed section of hull, you take the top card of the Enterprise deck and remove it from the game. If ever you cannot draw any cards because they're all removed from the game, then you lose the game. Also, if at any point every section, all 6 sections of the Enterprise have been destroyed, then you lose the game. In order to maneuver the Enterprise, players can do one of 2 separate things. You can turn the Enterprise, 1 facing, meaning that this Tholian who was inside at the side arc is now in the front arc. You can also move the other direction. Or you can advance the Enterprise. To move the Enterprise forward, you don't actually move it. You instead take everything in the front arc and move it 1 closer. Things in the side and rear arc do not move. Now, let's say, for example, that this Klingon battlecruiser is at range band 1 and advancing, and we don't have any shields to stop its advance. Instead of advancing and firing, it will instead board the Enterprise, and it will cause 3 damage, 1 for each of its health. If it was at 2 health, it would cause 2. At 1, it would cause 1. There are a few special exceptions to certain threats on the board. For example, the Tholians. The Tholians themselves, marked with a strange background and a reminder on the board, will not advance to board the Enterprise. Instead, as soon as they hit range band 1, they put the Enterprise in a tractor beam, and the Enterprise cannot maneuver until that threat is removed from the table. There are also cloaked ships, the bane of the Federation. A Klingon bird of prey, for example, marked by this blue outline. When a cloaking ship would normally advance and fire, instead it advances and cloaks. While cloaked, a ship cannot be fired upon and will not fire upon you until the next turn, when it will pop back out of cloak. It may move facings, and then it will fire, an unpredictable foe. There are also character Klingon battlecruisers like this one. Each one of these has its own special power marked on the board, but don't worry too much, because not everything in the bag is a threat. There is one friendly starbase. If you draw the starbase, it's placed onto the board. If you move into contact with the starbase, it heals you and gives everybody an extra card. When you draw a mission, you'll take one of these oversized mission cards and flip it face up in front of you. It will tell you exactly what to do. You might, for example, draw distress signal. It will give you mission parameters that will tell you exactly what the setup looks like, as well as any limitations. It will give you a mission objective, where you need to complete these following things, and then it will give you a reward once you've completed it. This one says that you need to move to the disabled ship and then devote 1 command and 1 engineering credit. In order to devote a credit, Spock, for example, has these rear phasers. If you look to the bottom, it says, or commit as 1 command credit. Instead of playing this card for this ability, it can be paid to the mission to complete that component. Once you've completed a mission in time, you will receive its reward, and the next turn, you'll receive a new mission. For example, search and rescue. Or perhaps you'll draw Day of the Dove, where you just simply need to survive the Klingon attack. Or maybe you'll draw The Trouble with Tribbles. Once you've completed 5 missions and cleared the board of all remaining threats, you can return back to San Francisco and Starbase headquarters as winners of Star Trek Panic. Alrighty folks, here we are with Star Trek Panic. We went ahead and set everything up. We have our varying threats. We have a Tholian ship at range, or at Sector 1, a Romulan battlecruiser, which looks so much like a Klingon battlecruiser, it's not even funny. It's funny how the original series worked. And then a Klingon battlecruiser over at number 5. Our first mission is a distress signal. The disabled ship is almost straight behind us, which is kind of bad, but luckily we have Sulu to help us out with that. Dakota's playing Hikaru Sulu, Steven is playing Pavel Chekhov, and I'm playing Captain Kirk because it's a requirement. I can't not. Yeah. So, we are off to the races. We get to decide amongst ourselves who's going to go first. Just a quick note. In this specific instance, this is the only ship that won't board you. But as soon as it gets to range band 1... Does that mean we're friends with it? No. Not really, no. They still shoot at us. As soon as it gets to range band 1, we get this condition marker that says that we cannot maneuver anymore. So we do not want him to get close to our ship, because, yeah. Captain Kirk, anytime he commits a card as a credit to the mission, he gets to draw 2 new cards. So he gets to cycle through, which is really good at getting things done efficiently, it does kind of dwindle the deck a little bit. So there are a little bit of hurts to it. What does Sulu do, Dakota?
He during play cards and maneuver phase, I can maneuver the Enterprise twice.
That is pretty sweet.
And Chekhov, during the play cards and maneuver phase, deal 1 additional damage to 1 target attacked with a phaser card.
Wow. So
Likes the laser lecture.
So
yeah, that is pretty solid. Let's see here. So we have medium range side phasers and some other side phasers. Stephen, why don't you go first and use those long range phasers, and we can just knock out that battle cruiser straight up.
So play card.
Yep. So we've drawn up. We've revealed the new mission. Now we have the trade cards option. I forgot about that. So we can. Do you want to trade cards with anybody?
I have phasers.
Actually,
Are there? I mean, you could.
I'll trade you these multi-phase
that
ones
would
for
be a
those
great
long
trade.
phase ones.
That would be a great trade.
And then I will play those long range ones to hit that.
And with Chekhov's power, instead of turning down to facing of 1, it does an additional damage and turns to 0. And we have destroyed the Romulan vessel. So,
Get it? Because you can rush it. That's how it talks.
So I will commit these side phasers as a command credit there. So at the end of the thing, we'll finish that one. Only the first time. Yeah. And then I will play a short rear phasers and a multi-range rear phasers to knock 2 points off that one.
Down to 1 on the Klingon battle cruiser. Grab off.
And that will end my turn, or that will end my card playing phase. So we check mission status. We are complete on a mission, so we don't have to worry about that. We immediately get the reward: repair up to 2 hull or shield sections, or rebuild 1 hull. So we can repair. That would be rebuilding the shields. Yeah. So we can repair these 2 at least, and that one will just take 1 here in a second. So I'll just leave it there because we move to threat to move and fire. It would bump there, do 1 damage. And then this one will move forward, and we'll take 1 hit on the backside of the saucer.
Starboard nacelle.
And that's not part there anymore. And we draw 2 threats.
And then we put this in completed mission land.
Okay, so
Wait,
yeah.
Yeah, and then commit the command token. So we've
that was
got
Sputnik's reign.
now you
Of terror.
move forward, right? Because then we absorb Nomad.
Oh, do we have to absorb him to
Well,
complete the mission?
no, but he doesn't. Right now he's going to hump us.
Or we just complete the mission?
Well, after.
Two.
Oh yeah, you do check mission settings.
Yeah, before he
You're
shoots.
right.
Yeah.
Take that rapid Sputnik.
Dude,
Alright.
Nomad.
So, does anyone? No one has any side phasers that are. He has long range ones. I just traded. Okay, so I'm going to use this.
Well, in that case, since Nomad's got to go away anyway, could you rotate to where do you have short range front phasers?
I have short range front phasers, yeah. So I can. Boom.
Well, if you rotate to face there,
Kill him.
then you could kill
Yeah.
him at least. Because you do one extra damage.
Okay.
And then
So like.
I mean, it's
Tangs
it's
gonna have
not
his way
perfect,
to
but
Well, because I'm also medium range front phasers too, so I can kill either one of those two.
But 1, 2, you could trade the medium phasers to Dakota next turn.
They'll be short range then already.
And then also this is a better play because this is
Oh, you could
crash
trade.
the fucking
You could trade him the back.
Yeah.
Next turn he could kill that, and then
Alright, give me those security.
Okay, so you're gonna
yeah.
well
I just trade you that one though.
Well, we already traded one this turn,
Yeah.
so we can't trade again this turn.
So we'll have to trade next time. Okay. So I'll do that.
And so I'm going to go ahead
Kirk.
and
We do.
deploy or commit the Hypo Spray as a medical card
then
and move forward one. It really doesn't matter because we already have one Klingon ship at range 1. Anyway, and we're going to beam the Tribbles to the Klingon ship,
claim our
completing
victory.
our 5th mission, and saying that we won the game,
One.
even though we may not have. But,
We had more fun this way.
Okay.
well, there you have it, folks. There's Star Trek Panic. Steven, tell us what you think about it.
Well, having played the other Panic game, I like this one a lot better because there's more that you can do. You can move. There's the mission aspect, which is really cool. Basically, they just took that basic Panic starting point and just expanded on it, and it made it a really, really fun game. So I really like this game. I would actually give this game a 5 out of 5.
All right, Dakota.
I really like this game. I don't know anything about Star Trek. I have seen literally 2 episodes and the new movies that came out, Wrath of Genghis Khan or something like that. And it kept me engaged. It was very, very good, even though I had no idea what the ships were or anything like that. The artwork was immersive enough, and it was actually it was hard. It's a very hard game, but it was like I think they've play tested. It feels like it was play tested enough where every game's going to be
Close.
very close.
Yeah.
And I think that makes each turn more important, and it makes the game a lot better. It's a good game.
Yeah.
5 out of 6.
All right. I'm a big fan of it. I have a love-hate relationship with Castle Panic, and it without any of the expansions, just because of some agency issues. It's kind of, did you get the cards that you needed at that exact moment? This one, trades feel a lot more important. You have to plan ahead a lot more. The idea of a card having multiple functions in this version as opposed to in Castle Panic makes this one have a lot more communication with other players, and I feel like there's a lot less quarterbacking because different players are looking at different things, and somebody's going to see something that you didn't see. Because they're all thinking about, if you move the ship here and then I move the ship here and then there's a lot more to think about. It definitely is more panicky to me than Castle Panic is. There's a real sense of on this game that if that's what you're looking for, is really good. Plus it's a cooperative game where failure is a very real option. Not that it's just gonna handle you, but it might. So I'm a fan. It's a tough cooperative game. There's a lot of communication going on.
This guy's just shouting.
It really does to me what a cooperative game should. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. So 4.5 out of 5. 5 and 6 and 5 out of 5. I'd say Star Trek Panic is a winner. Thank you for watching another episode of Board with Friends. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, check out our GoFundMe page linked in the video description. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that you're never bored, but if you are, we hope that you're bored with friends.